Welcome back, viewers, to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio. That is I, where no God is required for a life of love, joy, peace, fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in life. And the good life is one guided by reason and motivated by love. Let's continue with this long series of atheist evangelism. Part 2. Number 5 reason why I believe we need to get out there and talk to believers. Number 5, to give believers the antidote. Well, let me stop right there. We have within our grasps, in our hands, in our mouth, in our minds, we have an antidote for them. An antidote is a remedy for poison. And those of you that share caring and compassion and passion as I do to talk to believers, remember we do this for many other reasons. One reason is to help make society healthier. We do have an antidote and a remedy for poison. Are we going to hold that remedy and that antidote to ourselves? Or do we want to share it with people in need? Sounds condescending? No, I'll tell you what condescending is. When I talk to many Christians all the time, and especially Sunday mornings in their churches, where I tell them how happy I am, and other atheists, happier now than when we were Christians, and explain my testimony and how I let go of God belief and I've progressed into secular humanism and atheism, how they say, oh, I feel so sorry for you. That's condescending. So I do not think this is condescending. I think we have that remedy for the faith virus. Yes, for the supernatural belief systems of believing in a God. Well, what is the antidote? The antidote is simply critical thinking. Critical thinking is that clear, rational, objective, informed by evidence thinking. Now, I'm going to make a statement here which some of you atheists are maybe rolling your eyes at me by now, but you're going to smile and go, thank you for saying this, David. I, as an evangelist for atheism and humanism, cannot deconvert a believer on the spot. That's probably never been done. It's possible, but probably not. Highly improbable. This, what we are offering, is critical thinking to believers. I cannot have an altar call like I did when I was a Christian preacher back in my young years. It was an easy sale. I would let people know that they're sinners, and all they had to do was confess Jesus as Lord. If thou should confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus Christ, and believe in thy heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved, according from Romans chapter 10. It was an easy sale because it's based on feelings and emotion. Now, the reverse method is what works, which is giving critical thinking. I cannot deconvert a Christian on the spot, but what I can do is ask very hard questions and ask them if they think this makes sense, which I do. Giving them the tools of critical thinking to go home and think about this. There are those out there that do have doubts and questions. You don't know the ones we talk to that have these doubts and questions. You're encouraging them to think. I had a very close friend of mine, a lady who is a very strong Christian, tell me not long ago, David, I don't agree with everything you say, but one thing you make me do, you make me think. That is what I'm after. Giving them the tools to go home and use critical thinking, to read, to research on their own, and to come to that conclusion on their own, and become a conclusionary atheist, looking at data, looking at quantitative evidence, etc. An interesting thing happened a couple weeks ago at another mega church I went to. I go into Sunday school classes, and I asked another hard question about life transformation. The Sunday school teacher was talking about a new life in Christ and how people come to Jesus and their life is completely changed for the good, like Saul to Paul the Apostle in the book of Acts, I believe in chapter 7 or 8, somewhere around there, or 10. And so I raised my hand and said, well, let me ask you a question. And there must have been 30 or 40 people in this class. And I said, it's interesting because I've met a lot of people that are not Christians that experience life transformation based on their philosophy that they're reading or studying. I know people that are in different religions or even atheists that change their life and transform their life for the good without Christianity. So that makes people think. I like to ask questions also like, is love universal? And I tell these people, you know, it's interesting, I do case studies all the time. And I go out in different groups of religions or no religions, and we're all the same people. Love is universal. It's interesting to know, and I'm telling the whole class, my audience, that people can experience love and happiness and joy and peace in all different belief systems because we're all human. These are just hard questions for a lot of these. So I begin to discuss life transformation. I quoted Richard Carrier, great guy, intelligent author and historian. Life transformation results whenever anybody pays more attention to a belief system, an ideology, than they do to the details of life. And I begin to quote this and explain this to this entire Sunday school class and the teacher who was a lay preacher. How people can change and conform. It's called conformism. Well, he didn't have an answer for me. People kind of got a little bit upset, red in the face. So when the class was over, I had 3 or 4 people immediately come to me, sit around me, and begin to tell me what they thought about my comment. One of the women told me, very nice lady, and she said, you know what? I teach at this church in a class for new Christians. I teach a class on critical thinking. Now, I wanted to laugh and go, how can you understand critical thinking? Because if you did, you would figure this book out called the Bible. Or if I were talking to a Muslim, you would figure this out, the Quran and all the other religions. Well, she said critical thinking is a part of the Christian mind. That is very interesting. So let's move along. Number 6, why should we evangelize and talk to believers? Well, because religion, not just Christianity, I believe all religions that base their faith in a supernatural deity impedes human progress, an impediment of human progress. Now, I don't want to talk down to my fellow atheists. Most of you are very intelligent and probably more intelligent than I am. And you figure this stuff out. Most of us know that Christianity and Islam and the other religions are major impediments to human progress. What does religion do? What does it impede? Very simple. Science, scientific inquiry. It impedes evolution. If it weren't for Christianity or Islam, would teaching evolution in classrooms and schools be an issue? Would gay rights be an issue? Probably not. So it does impede pure scientific teaching and naturalism in classrooms. It impedes human rights. Look in the Bible and read. There is no such thing as human rights in the Bible. We must fight for that, and religion does impede it. It also impedes egalitarianism. All kinds of human rights and equality. There's no such thing as egalitarianism in the Bible. It's about authority. Submit yourselves one to another. Wives, submit to your husbands, for the husbands are the head of the wife. So there's that authoritarianism in religion. So it does impede equality, and that's what we push for. Of course, as I've mentioned already before, religion impedes the actual act of skepticism, of doubting, of critical thinking, that clear, rational, informed by evidence, objective thinking called critical thinking. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. The Bible teaches, and it imposes, it comes against all critical thinking, questions, and doubting. It says, do not come and use your mind of reason Just trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Number 7, why evangelize? Why talk to believers? Well, to minimize atheist bigotry and discrimination. And I'm going to repeat myself again. We, as atheists, are second-class citizens to some Christians, especially those on the right. I forgot the guy's name, the preacher down in San Antonio. There's a YouTube sermon. I listened to him and watched the video many times. And he said, he pointed his finger right into the camera, and he said, to you atheists here in America, you want us to be miserable. You are bitter, you are angry, and if you don't like our belief system and religion, then leave this country. We will not hold you back. In fact, we prefer that you leave our Christian country because our country was founded on Christian principles. Well, that's erroneous. We know by looking at the Constitution, it's a secular document, the first secular document ever. Nothing about Jesus, nothing about God, nothing about religion, all secular. We, the people. So, to many, we are parasites. I've heard many Christians on Christian radio, in pulpits say that those that are fighting against religion, especially their particular religion, are parasites, leeches, we're immoral, we're filled with hatred and misery and nihilism. Well, that's bigotry and discrimination. Number 8, and I close. Number 8 is basically a summary of all the other reasons why I believe we should be out there as activists, and we should talk to people and let them know that we're atheists, let them know that we're healthy, we're happy, we have fulfillment, we have meaning in life, we help feed the homeless, we give to charitable foundations, we do good things just like the Christians do. It's called secular humanism. Well, I would say number 1, I cannot deconvert, as I've already said. But my objective, number 1, is to make thinkers. I've been told before by people, you know, David, I do not agree with everything you say, but you're making me think. I've also been told by people, and they know that I am a college dropout. I lack a degree. I'm from the school of hard knocks. I've been to college, I've been to Bible school, but I've never completed any of these. I study on my own, read the Bible, studied for years as a preacher, and as an atheist, I just stacked up my room with books after books after books on natural sciences, philosophy, and world history, and began craving and desiring reality, which is naturalism and how the natural world really works. Well, it doesn't take super high IQ to figure this out for some people. It takes someone to show them and teach them critical thinking and to help them to become thinkers. So I would say the most important thing we can do when we talk to believers is encourage them to think and to come to their own rational conclusion that, hey, there's no evidence for a God. Also, we want atheist equality. So if there's only 2 things that you agree with about my message on atheist evangelism, my dear fellow atheist, I hope you can at least agree the 2 reasons would be to help people to become thinkers, to figure this out on their own, and to get the word out there that we desire atheist equality. We want to be equals. We want to be treated as equals and first-class citizens like they are. Well, thank you for watching the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio, that is I. And again, if you like what you've heard today, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful day.